Hey fellow patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. It's a cold day. -5 this morning, Sunday morning. I hope wherever you are, you're warm, you're safe, your pipes are flowing, and you have no problems, your animals are safe, and it's just another winter day. This too shall pass. Hopefully. We are in winter. This winter reminds me much of winters growing up as a child in West Virginia. Cold, days upon days of cold, snow, icy roads, minimal groceries. Much of what we're seeing today. So while being locked in a bit to the home and not on travel for a few days, I've been doing a little research and throwing some numbers together. And oftentimes people make comments, simple comments in passing conversations that sticks in my mind, and oftentimes I'll go research and take a look. And the topic I want to talk about today is the average American and how they're having to live today. And one of the comments I often hear over a period of months and years is, "I just can't get ahead. No matter how much I work, overtime, 2 jobs, I just can't seem to make ends meet. I can't make extra money to get any money saved because something always happens to take that money." And over the last 18 months, roughly, the debt ratio in the private sector is just skyrocketing. At the end of each year, whether you're working or you're retired, at the end of each year, we often look forward for our employer or the government to announce how much of a pay raise we're going to get the following year. And in our mind, we have the hopes that that increase is going to get us over the bump, make life a little bit better, give us more money to either save or get out of debt, or to just balance our financial sheet to pay our mortgage or rent, food, medical cost, fuel cost, and so forth. Considering that our government is $34 trillion and climbing currently, and our debt to GDP is right at 118 to 120%, meaning they have 120% debt load to every dollar they bring in. So basically they're paying billions and billions and billions of dollars just on interest and not principal. Years ago, Miss Lucy and I went to hear a former congressman from Idaho speak, and one of the things that he talked about that has stuck with me is basically the federal government is broke financially. So whenever they give you a pay raise in your Social Security, your military pay rate, and so forth, because they're going to keep you at zero, by giving you a pay raise in A, they're going to increase cost in B and C, taking away that pay raise. And knowing how private sector owners, CEOs are tasked with, board members, they have a rate of return on everything, and they set their profit margin at the beginning of the year so that they have to guarantee, say, 8, 10, 12% return. And what this means is anything below where they're selling goods to consumers, they have to either make cuts to the number of warehouses or stores, the number of employers, the number of benefits, and increase cost on goods to help them meet that profit margin. Now, I know for many, to include myself, it's sickening when we read news articles talking about how the CEO of X company got a $20 million bonus or a $30 million bonus, while the people on the floor pushing the goods, keeping the business running, might get a 2% pay raise if they're lucky, or they might get a $100 Christmas bonus. This is like extra feed for the chickens. So in the corporate world, the rich get richer, and those who are doing the work continue to struggle. So I started doing some research, and I had in my first book, Hope for Survival, How Food, Water, Shelter, Security Could Save Your Life. One section in the book, I laid out a lot of cost factors on personal debt, income, credit card debt, cost of disasters, how disasters drive insurance cost up for everyone, regardless if you were in the impacted area or you're not. So I was running, I'm not a financial guru, but I was just kind of running some numbers, and I was looking at the average inflation is 3.9 to 4.1%. The average food inflation is around 5%, regardless of what they tell you. The average rent, 32% roughly to 35% of the U.S. is they are renters. It showed that roughly 6%, they had a 6% price increase on rent per year. I believe this is way low, simply because of conversations and news articles over a year, 2 years, talking about how in some cases people's rent had doubled in 24 months. So we'll just go with the average increase is 10% to 14% annually across the lower 48 states. Personal debt, credit card. The average credit card debt per individual is $6,357. And on that, it says 65% of those with a credit card debt, 65% pay it in full monthly. That leaves 35% who are making payments at 18 to 24% interest or higher. The average student loan debt is $36,000. Auto loan debt average $20,000. Personal loan balances $17,700. Now this doesn't include a place to live, food to eat, fuel, clothes, medical. The average income across America, the average income is $67,000, but the medium range is $50,000 to $90,000. The average rate of return on a 401k is 5 to 8%, on stocks 10%, and on your savings 0.6%. So combined together, that's about a 16% return. The average American, on average, gets about a 2 to 3% pay increase per year, whether that's in the private sector or in government, military, Social Security, and so forth. So when you add all those up, the 401, stock, savings, pay raise, it comes out to about roughly 20%. So average living expenses, if you're single, the average it costs is $3,100 or $38,000 per year, and a family of four is $7,095 or $85,000 per year. The average household debt is $103,558. The total credit card debt in Q3 of 2023, the average credit card debt was $1.8 trillion with a T. The total mortgage debt in Q3 was $12.14 trillion. So if you add up all the gains, 401, stock, savings, pay raise, and so forth, interest off of investments if you have investments, if you add all them up and then you go over and look at everything that's taken money away from you weekly and monthly, you're in the ballpark of about a 0% difference to maybe a 2% positive. Because these statistics are kept by the government, if the government knows the American people have an extra 50 cents in their pocket and the government's $34 trillion in debt and counting, where they're averaging about $1 trillion debt every 4 to 6 months. And they want total control over how you spend your money and to control your money and what you buy. It is much easier to see why Americans are going backwards. If the government knows you have an extra 50 cents in your pocket, they're going to figure out a way to get that 50 cents. And this is why so many Americans are going backwards faster than they can grip a hold or make changes in their own life. They're drowning in debt. And as I've often said, the quicksand around us is slowly moving in and climbing our feet and ankles and legs. If you're not part of the top 1% making millions of dollars, and you have friends in Washington who are writing laws to benefit you, the odds of you succeeding financially and getting ahead are going to become harder and harder. So with that said, I was just conversing with someone yesterday in regards to preparedness and how federal and state laws require us to have so many different insurances, medical insurance, home insurance, car insurance, and on and on and on. But the single thing that we as humans need the most, food and water, people are hesitant to invest in food and water to have available during tough times. And if they had an extra $100, they would put that money into a bank account earning less than 1% interest on their money versus putting the $100 into food to put in their cupboards. People are trusting more a system versus trusting their decision to be self-reliant, to put things on the shelf. Even if you have no disasters, you have no events, you have no reasons whatsoever in the next 10 years, which I don't believe will be true. But let's say you have no events that occur in the next 10 years. Investing in food 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, investing in food then compared to prices today, you're going to get a far greater return by having food and water than putting it in a worthless account where it's basically in someone else's hands. You're entrusting your hard-earned money for someone else to take care of versus you taking care of your family and ensuring your children and grandchildren have food to eat. You're trusting the stores who are showing bare shelves right now. You're trusting that every time you need to stop at the store, they are going to have food available for you to feed your family. Versus trusting your decision to buy extra food to have in your home in the event your lifestyle changes, the stores are not stocked, the 18-wheelers stop rolling, that you can ensure your children are not going to look at you and tell you they're hungry, and then you have to tell them, well, you're sorry, you have no food because you didn't prepare. I would be willing to bet 80% to 85% of the American people could not live out of their cupboards for more than 7 days at the current level they live today. That's a lot of hungry people, wouldn't you say? So I wanted to share I don't know if you believe in predictive programming. I do. I want to share a set of lyrics with you real quick, and I want you to think about these lyrics. When we think about Agenda 2030 and we think about AI and we think about within Agenda 2030 and them wanting people to live in 400 square foot boxes and equality and everyone will be the same, have the same income, have the same amount of food to eat, People will basically live through virtual goggles for entertainment and so forth. They're trying to destroy religion throughout America and the world for that matter. But I want you to listen. These lyrics are 53 years old, and it was a hit song by John Lennon years ago called Imagine. But I want you to think about the world we live today and what he wrote 53 years ago. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions, I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Again, that was John Lennon. Imagine 50 years ago someone having these thoughts of one world, no country borders, everyone's equal. We live in a world of brotherly love. When at the time this was authored, we were still in the Vietnam War. Throughout history, all over the world, there's been wars everywhere. But under the World Economic Forum, and you look at their goals, it is basically to crush people to be dependent upon a one world government under their control, living how they tell you to. You'll eat bugs and you'll like them. So basically, three percent of the money and the people of the world are making decisions for 97% of the rest of the world. Punch that into your calculator and see how it works out. 97% of the globe, allowing 3% of the people. And it goes beyond that, because we're simply talking about people who are completely dependent upon the trucks rolling in. They're completely dependent upon the stores being stocked. They're completely dependent upon a doctor being available. They're completely dependent upon a job or finding another job. They're completely dependent upon fuel. They're completely dependent upon everything. It's always man looking for someone else to be at their rescue versus man rescuing him or herself to be self-reliant. It's pretty much it in a nutshell. And those are just how I think. Those are my beliefs. So if you like this video, please hit like, share any thoughts. Stay warm, keep your pipes running. Stay off the road for another day or so if you can. The back roads in most areas are still being reported as icy. See a lot of pictures of vehicles in wrecks going off the sides of roads. So anyway, if you're not subscribed, it's free. Help us grow. Reach up and hit subscribe, and keep on preparing. There's enormous waves in different areas in 2024 that are going to be difficult for many to get through. Okay, but keep hope. Don't lose hope. Keep your feet grounded. Spend your time where it matters. in the preparedness realm. Learn skills the best you can. Teach others if you have skills. The more people we help today, the more people who are going to have a better chance down the road, and hopefully they will be around to help communities. Okay? So until next time, stay blessed, and don't forget to give thanks. Bravo Echo out.